of the different sensitive materials are being deployed to the different magisterial stations across the country. So we should be set and rolling. But today we're going to begin firstly by talking about something quite important, quite significant that happened to the country. A lot has been said about the state of governance in Liberia, and during the course of the week, the independent U.S. development aid agency called the Millennium Challenge Corporation, that's what Kwame was talking about earlier, they graded Liberia quite positively. They talked about various, there are various indicators under that MCC program, the U.S. program. Basically, the U.S. government was attempting to tie aid to good governance. So they set up 3 criteria. They said ruling justly, ensuring that there's economic freedom, and there's another category. But
Fiscal.
No. Those are the sub areas. Those are the sub areas. But essentially, they tie their aid development program to these governance indicators. And Liberia has been on that program since 2007, 2006, and what have you. This year, Liberia scored the highest score it's ever gotten. And it's happened under President George and Weah. Usually, in fact, they have 20 indicators. You have to pass half of that, about 10, to be described as a country that have made a pass. All along, Liberia has either made a pass of 10, 11. Last year, I think we got 12. That was one of the highest that we got. But this year, we even took it further. We got 14
out of 20.
Basically, that's what if you look at that number, that would be something about 80. Right? 80%.
Yeah. Right.
So what that is going to be, what that indicates, is that despite all the lies these people tell you, our country international image is ruined. The state of governance is bad. There's corruption. As a matter of fact, we passed the corruption indicator as well. So there's corruption. This they could call the fact that they are not in power. The Unity Party is not in power. Those that are in power, rather than calling them the opposition or other Liberians or fellow Liberians, these people, in a kind of condescending manner, these people don't know what they're doing and X, Y, and Z. Well, all of that has been invalidated by the U.S. government. Basically, what they've said is that President George M. Weah is doing quite well with governance. And so that is exactly what we're going to be focused on today. Plus, we're going to be talking about the number of endorsements the president has been racking up during the course of the week. But also the president was just, walking around some of the neighborhoods, meeting up with ordinary people. That's just who he is. And we'll attempt to talk about who he is too as well, Kwame, right?
Yeah, definitely. We'll be talking how the president has been humanizing himself and reaching out. Primary Weah, the first lady as well, been going into communities and talking about why we should maintain, the status quo. And also you spoke about the 2024, compact. And, you saw our guys try to, move the goalpost. And then they were talking about other indicators when in fact they had just, written Samuel Tour out. But again, that's it.
Yeah, you're listening to MICAT. Welcome back to MICAT Hour. You saw her earlier trying to catch her breath. I was struggling. Everybody was looking at me and said, this guy's dying. But anyway, I think I've cut my breath down. I was racing in the studio. At some point, we expect that Ben Sanvi is going to join us. We talked about that earlier. So he's, Ben is the former chairman of the Liberty Party, right? He's endorsed the second term bid of His Excellency the President. So he's going to be joining us during the course of our conversation. We're expecting him to join us at least because he promised to do so during the course of our conversation today. But we're going to begin firstly by talking about this remarkable development that happened during the course of the week, which is the MCC scorecard. When we're talking about that, some other people say, the ordinary librarian, we know MCC scorecard, this, that, and all the different teams. So I need to break it down to them. So this is me attempting to do that, and maybe my guys, my co-host can chime in a bit. So most governments depend, not most government, but most African and third world nations depend on some sort of aid program. So one of the biggest donors to overseas development assistance is the United States government. They give billions of dollars each year to developing countries and what have you. But in 2004, President George M. Bush basically said that we need to develop a benchmark. They have USAID already, but then they said some of the programs of USAID, they're not. They've been repeated, they've been duplicated, and some of them got political attachments and all of those stuff. So they wanted to ensure that the aid program is attached. It's not just given freely, but it's attached to some sort of some sort of good governance. Those values that the U.S. government itself espouse.
Right.
So in 2004, the Congress passed a law granting what President George Bush wanted, and ever since that time, they started measuring certain number of countries, and Liberia was part of that program. I think as of 2006, 2007. Up to that point, they had the three categories that they would look at will be economic freedom, ruling justly, and economic freedom, by the way. They have fiscal policy, inflation, regulatory policy, trade policy, gender in the economy, land rights, access to credit, employment opportunities. They honor ruling justly. They have political rights, civil liberty, control of corruption, government effectiveness, rule of law, freedom of information, and investing in people. This is where it's been challenging for most governments, and I think Liberia included, is health expenditure, education expenditure, natural resource protection, immunization rate, girls' education, child health. So all of these things, they rate them at what level of investment you're doing in these different sectors. They rate them into three categories. So the latter one we just talked about was the one they call invested in people. How much money you spending on education in the health sector and all of those different stuff. So Liberia obtained this highest score because they will measure you up to 20 points. Liberia got 14 with 24 other nations. More than 50 or so other nations fail.
Wow.
Yeah. So Liberia is in the top echelon right now. So when we pass, what happens is you apply for something they call compact. That is the large U.S. government aid they will give you.
Right.
The last time Liberia got that was 2015. That was after Liberia tried several years. They got that only once under President Ellen Johnson's leaving. They got that in the latter end of their second term. So that was around 2015. After applying, trying, failing, and trying, they managed to get the first compact, which was $257 million. In order to get a second compact, the benchmark will be set higher. So Liberia has been struggling ever since. The last time we passed was 12, which was still higher than most of the time Liberia had passed. This time, in fact, it's the highest ever. But what was unfortunate is to see that rather than people being, because firstly we should state that this is an independent government program, a U.S. government program. It's not like the U.S. government give it to you on silver platter. It's not even tied to the U.S. State Department thing. The State Department is different. This one, they get their indicators, they get their scores from people like Chatham House, Brookings Institute, the World Bank, IMF, and all the different things. Right. Those are the places to get their thing. So it's fair. The measurement is fair. But it's unfortunate that the former finance minister, Amara Kone, will get on the radio and start to criticize that the government is not doing X, Y, and Z. In fact, this is a failure and this is wrong. It was so appalling.
Yeah, it was
in bad taste. It just shows sour grapes.
4 hours before they released the report.
Yeah,
right.
That he was attempting to get at his successor. Usually, people in a professional setting, you don't do that. If you left an institution and somebody else takes over from you, People don't provide, review of the kind of work their successors are doing in a public manner. Because that person has the ability to review your work. Because imagine that they're dealing with the kind of work that you already did.
But let me jump in.
Yeah,
here.
go ahead, Kwame.
And you said it right.
Mhm.
In a professional society, we saw a professional workplace. We saw that with President Bush, after he turned over to President Obama, then President Obama,
Yeah.
and some stuff Obama would do, even if it was not the his healthcare policy, Obamacare, and some other stuff that would hit the fans, and Republicans will want President Bush to comment or criticize, and he said, "Look, I don't criticize a sitting
The president. Exactly.
and that's unprofessional." The same thing. I enjoy what Tua said a couple of days ago.
Yeah.
He said, "Look, I mean, if you, the journalist, had not asked me this question,
I'm not going to talk about
I'm not
it.
even going to mention
Yeah.
Amara's name. I respect the guy. He's a colleague, and I thought that he would have done the right thing, to respect my work. And then hear him a day after, I'm rated way better than him. By they said the proof is in the pudding.
Yeah.
Right. And talking about the MCC, it was created to reduce poverty through economic growth. And who will be better person to move if your economy is not growing? Why will they give you a pass? And
That's the thing.
like you said, those are not just ordinary people. You
Yeah.
talk about the IMF, all these different institutions, professional institutions that are the ones, the referees, and if they don't have special law for Tua, to say, okay, let's give him this particular score. So
But
that's
the
what
thing
I
about it is that Tua leads just one aspect. I know that the whole theme secretariat for the MCC sits at the Ministry of Finance and what have you. But this is leadership that the president of the Republic of Liberia, which was one of his lieutenants,
Bingo.
that the president of the Republic of Liberia has provided. Because look at some of the areas, on ruling justly, for instance, where they have things like civil political rights, and this is the ability of political party to form freely, politicians to form political party, have free fair elections, and all of those stuff,
Without
like intimidation,
Yeah.
civil liberty, respecting people's fundamental rights, and all of that, the control of corruption. Like Bruce set up one of the, gave the LACC one of the highest level of powers that any African government has done. In recent years, rule of law, how Liberia respects rule of law, all of those stuff. Those are things that have been presided over by His Excellency. But let's hear from Daniel.
Thank you very much. Good morning. Thank you very much, and good morning again. It's awesome being back here this morning, especially when we were discussing on the last day of our show just before the runoff. The Millennium Compact Corporation has just exposed with regards to the developments that's been made by this government, especially scoring the highest in terms of the last participation from both administrations, 14 out of 20. It speaks to a lot of different impacts that has been made by this administration. You want to look at this from a common man perspective. You got to go back to the first pillar on the Popo agenda for prosperity and development, the pillar that focuses on power to the people. And part of the reasons why this government has been able to rapidly grow in the wings of the millennium, the MCC scorecards, is because of the prioritization of the different aspects of development that affects the mass of the people. You see, unlike the last 12 years when development was sparsely distributed in terms of the individuals that it should concern, this administration has put to work policies and features that has attracted not just the international community to Liberia, but also has developed our domestic economy in a way that Liberia, many Liberians are participating in what is happening here today. Take for example, we had this challenge. Imagine just on 6 years as compared to 12 years, we can score 12 on a 20, and now scoring 14 on a 20 on the same 6. Yes. What does this show? It shows that this administration has been very exemplary in trying to promote the raw essence of the individuals that they are trying to develop. When our commercial banks started just after 2017, there was a serious challenge because the integrity of the CBL was already dead. All right. And part of the ways we could resuscitate our economy was to ensure that the central bank was up, alive and active. And the argument in a component of that pillar speaks to the fact that we must be able to gainfully employ and allow Liberians to participate in our national economy. Did we do that? Yes. We did that through the commercial bank, massive spendings in a different business sectors, and and in our country, both drawing international investments to Liberia and also adding domestic investments as it relates to our country. So you see that there's been a lot of growth in the areas of development, in the areas of employment. There's been a serious development in the area of access to information. The president, when he took office after 2017, he moved ahead first of all to create an enabling environment where the press will have access, to information and the freedom to freely operate. Unlike Madam Salif's effort or the Unity Party's effort to establish the table, the Mountain Declaration, here we are. The president was able to do the KAK, and it was passed into law. And today we have an environment where the Fourth Estate and the government of Liberia can freely operate. That is promoting information, because there's no limitation in accessing these different valuable information that the public will need. Also, the president has been able to. I know we may not have done much in the area of education in terms of on the scorecard, but guess what? If you look at, I was looking at it. If you look at the last score, though we didn't pass it in that sector to now, you see that there's been some improvements made. And why? Because the government has also focused on not just qualitative education in terms of more people, but quality control in the education sector. And all of these things, when you sum them up, they're giving a clear picture, contrary to one that has been given by our colleagues who came for the last 12 years, who refused to allow our people access to decision making in their own governance development. So today, what you're seeing, the 14 out of 20, which is a massive progress for this administration at this point in time, just under 6 years. Even the U.S. government can attest that just under 6 years too. I mean, your different attempts, and you just shot 6 points to 20.
What?
6 points, and your benchmark is 10. It shows that this government has been listening. They've been promoting a lot of different activities as it relates to developing our country.
And let me just talk about some of the times that we hadn't passed. So 2018 was basically the work of 2017. So that was before President Weah was in the driving seat. So 2019, we had the whole economic crisis that the previous government had left. They didn't leave much in the coffers. It was a period of transition, and then some of our folks who had sour grapes from leaving power were putting all kinds of demands and pressure on the government to the extent they had a major protest. Then 2020 we had COVID and all of that, but then we had to recoup from COVID in 2021. But by 2022, we started to get everything together. We started to get real high marks to the extent that even in the health sector, there was a major health conference that was held in Liberia where they brought global actors coming in here to just sit and talk about the progress that have been made. They're using Liberia as a model, by the way. They're talking about community health. They say that Liberia has been able to firstly increase the number of the number of personnel in a different counties.
Community health workers.
Exactly. Community health workers. That has led to increase in attendance, whether for birth attendance and all of that. Reduction of malaria in the communities. And so they're using Liberia as a model. In other words, you say Liberia an example of good practice in the health sector. It was that same year we shut up the school on the MCC scorecard. We passed the 10 because 10 have been the knee, the score that I'm not going to be making sure. 10, sometimes 9, 10. Then the audacity for him now to come back and be talking about that, and this is not about Anwar Kone, it's just about the hypocrisy, that all the folks in the opposition have been peddling. Some of the things that they've never achieved. That's what President Weah is achieving. But then they will come back and criticize him so unfairly. We made amends in the last couple of weeks with a lot of different actors who've been stinking critics of the government. But even they themselves can tell you that the president has been doing well. And then if you compare him to the previous administration, his administration is doing well. So to be hearing from Amakone just when we are beginning to hear that from some of the very critics of the government, it highlighted the hypocrisy that folks have practiced over the years. He prides himself as being he prides himself as being this super professional who knows economics so well and all of that that no other finance minister has performed as he did and you know what. But it was unfortunate that firstly he lied on Spawn TV. He was fact checked, by the way, that 3.5 million Liberians living in poverty.
Wow.
He said 3.5 million.
How did he come?
So he was basically saying close to about 60-75% of the population is living in poverty. So the guys from
needs to go to Pakistan.
the fact checker. I forgot the group.
Yes.
Yeah, but they fact check it and say, well, that was incorrect. That is a professional way of saying Bimela. So he went on Spoon TV and said that. So this is the same thing again he's attempting to do when he started citing areas that he himself failed in. He himself failed in the area. He said, "Oh, Labrador didn't achieve X, Y, and Z." He said the areas I call it investing in people. That's what I'm trying to pull up. But go ahead, Kwame.
Effective governance as well, and all of those different things. And what that means, like our Minister Tua explained that. So you work at a ministry, and a letter is sent by some NGO to your boss, and you keep the letter there without sending the letter, or you are supposed to sign some paperwork,
government effectiveness,
right?
But we've never ever passed government.
No, that's what I'm saying.
That's what I'm saying. I'm explaining it to the ordinary guys so that they can know what that is. And he's saying that we never passed that. He didn't pass that either. But I don't want us to waste time on this guy. For real,
because government effectiveness, what it looks at, Kwame has been faced with that quite a lot. He's been complaining. Government effectiveness looks at the general core competence of the civil service.
That's what I want to say. That's
their regularity and their and how free they are from political influence.
Exactly.
Most of the people in the civil service owe some allegiance to one political party or the other, and some of the times, they don't. And how is it that you have set policies and goals and that you strive towards, achieving it? That's what they call. How do they call it? Government effectiveness. And the reason that is difficult is because of the nature of the civil service in Liberia. We have almost 70,000, 70,000 people in the civil service. Believe me now. I'm an official government. I shouldn't be saying this. But you tell the people working?
No.
It's a welfare system. We bring them essentially to ensure that the money goes around. To families in their homes and all of that. So, some other people, some previous ministers have been paddling the different system with people of relatives and friends. People who just come to there, man, I need job, this and I get it. Kindness says. No inputs. I recruit on the basis of their competence. Successive government have been doing that.
That's the reason why.
And that's why we don't pass government effectiveness.
Yeah. And I don't see us passing that. It's all across. Even you see, that's why the Liberian man will rather, if he works for, say, a restaurant chain that is private, maybe or Lebanese owned, and he makes $100, but he's gonna work for that $100 like nobody business. He's not gonna miss day off and the cutting and all of that. When it comes to the government, they say, "Oh my man, in fact, they will tell you, say, government Thursday and not good day to dress to go to work." They tell you, they create their own thing, as if to say they go to work 11 and 1 o'clock, everyone's out, and you struggle, even kicking them out of the job. They're gonna go say you're trying to target them. You complain there's no work. You give one to protect that, and it sets you.
But you see,
it's just a tough thing. I mean,
you see, also
talk about it.
In as much as we haven't passed government effectiveness, but this administration has been making some meaningful strides in addressing, the efficiency, of like the civil service, or workforce that we have. So remember that we went against this payroll padding. We removed ghost names from the payroll. You saw that CSA came up with some, some great employee, or guidelines, other stuffs that would direct productivity in the different ministries, agencies, and public corporations across the country. But also, I just wanted to mention that, Amara is actually bedazzled by the level of work.
Hey, Dr. Thomas.
By the level of work that has,
So I give him that.
he's bedazzled by the level of work that's been done by Tue and his other colleagues over the last 3 years. Because I'm not going to put the first 3 years there, all right? And what they don't understand is that the United States of America has got no political interest in terms of which government they're going to promote more with regards to that MCC. Okay, they're more focused on people's development. It is their core objective. So, and the good thing about it is that why we became in sync with the MCC in terms of scoring high was because we adopted unknown to ourselves the philosophy of the US in terms of prioritizing the people in some of these major decision making. And as such, you realize that we were making these passes just under 3 years, reaching 40 out of 20, whereas these guys since 2007, they have stuck around 10, 8, 9, around there. So this shows that Amara should be asking Minister Tue, what formula did you develop or derive?
But here's an interesting information. So when a country reaches a particular medium for which you declare pass, which is half of it,
Of course.
you are required to develop something called a constraints analysis, which basically will state
What you
where you want to do
Right.
X, Y, and Z. What are the things that are hindering your growth?
Right.
And when Liberia did it, who did Liberia's? Who?
Same to her.
Minister Tue.
Of course.
Minister Tue working.
He was a consultant there.
with Amara Coney.
He was a consultant there, I know.
So he headed that program.
I know.
So so he knows what he's doing as far as that particular program is concerned.
So you see this. So this is what I was saying just to conclude. So
That was 2015.
yeah, he's had a feel, okay, of what the challenges has been. If you work in a regular INGO, is there. By the time you were hired, the first thing you gotta develop your SMART goals. The SMART goal is going to point to what you intend to implement in the X amount of time. What will be some of the challenges, and then after that, your performance goal will be the one now will tell whether you didn't deliver, why you didn't deliver, and what are some of the constraints you face and how you're going to deliver in the coming time. And these are some of the professional tool sets that were used, harnessed by the people's interest and involvement in all of these activities that has led us to where we are today. So, and also, it is incumbent upon us to continuously explain to our most ordinary Liberians how their government has been able to achieve this, even with, the minister said something. At the point in time, they had one of the highest macroeconomic stability, because they had huge international donor funds coming into the country. They have because of World War II, at the point in time, they had a presence of over 300 plus million was in the economy. I mean, there are too many things going on. But guess what? After post-war Liberia, where the security of our state is upon us as a nation, where the growth and development of our economy is upon us as a nation, without any massive international, involvement, guess what? This government was able, as part of putting people into employment opportunities, were able to raise over $150 million in revenue.
Yeah.
Okay, it speaks to the responsive nature of the administration in terms of addressing the resuscitating our economy at the point in time Liberians needed. So that's a plus.
It just tells you, the leadership.
Yeah.
I also sitting with a friend whose name I'm not going to call. He was a stinging critic of us. The man looked at me and said, "You think you're not working? You didn't know you're working?" He said, "But y'all didn't want to include also work." He said, "You know what? You didn't know you're working." And then so it just begs the question. I mean, the statement that was made, I think by 12, who said, somebody else said that. He said the truth is what the media says it is. The fact is what the media says it is. So you can do all that you were doing. When we came to government earlier in 2018, we had this You know,
Disbelief.
this belief that somehow President Weah was so popular, and that the government could have made it without much investment in media activities and all of those stuff. You remember that time? Every morning we wake up from Africa deal. Every morning,
Remind us that they were saying,
yeah, every morning the government woke up from Africa has something in the headline. I mean, the people, everybody were, left and right, all the media institutions just hating the government. Man. You remember that time? So there were too much noise.
you're serious.
But to say media is critical. It's critical to national development. It's critical to national security as well.
Yeah.
You know, so because without effective communication, people can join the streets, cause chaos.
But the media is like a king's maker.
Yeah.
They gotta make
So now a lot of people have had this belief that the government was not performing well because that was a narrative being peddled in the public by some elements. They've dominated the media space and telling you the government is incompetent. They're not doing well. Whereas the US people telling you the government is performing more than the previous one.
Exactly.
It was not mainly the media. I differ because the media had a share, but it was citizen journalism. Facebook.
Yeah, but it's single.
It's single.
No, but they were not,
You put it on the
The mainstream, not the mainstream.
not the
media.
mainstream.
correct.
Right. They were. You had tabloids, and all of that. People would say, "Oh, go to this guy for news," when in fact he knows nothing about journalism, and he just grab a cell phone. Thanks to Mark Zuckerberg, and you just say what you want to say, and then somebody will say, "Oh, I saw it on Facebook." Remember, that's what's been happening in our society. Unlike, and they took advantage of that, to the point where people created themselves their space as talk show hosts, whether you couldn't tell B from a toad frog, and you would just say anything outrageously or outlandishly or malign someone's character, say anything, and people would just move and believe that. And it kept that way to the point where you will see kids even in the community arguing based on what that particular person said. And there you have some who claim to be journalists who had other ulterior motives because government did not call them or say, okay, there's one of my guy, I won't call his name, but he's all now on Facebook. Every morning he wakes up, trying to bash Costa, trying to say a lot of stuff, every morning he's.
And maybe that should be the next conversation, right?
Right.
The endorsements and endorsement of Costa. What do you guys make of it?
I mean, like the guy or not, a guy that comes on social media and gets 10K views, Liberia
in a split second.
In a split second, Liberia internet, and I mean organic views, not the ones you see on the spoon. Because Facebook will allow you to buy more views so that people will want to see your 1K, and then the people will come. But Costa comes on, that the organic, he's coming on at 1:00 today, you will see as well. So Liberians don't have a culture of praising somebody as long as that person is their enemy, even if the person is lethal. They downplay it, or even with the quality. The same thing they did with George Weah, remember? And up to this point, he's the president. He's your president. Get it in the back of your head that this is the man who you said was not a high school graduate. Then he went and got his high school diploma.
And became the president.
You say he didn't go to college. He got 1 degree.
He's always started from the bottom and eventually goes to the top.
Right. So. And he came in your job, your terrain and everything and beat you there. And this is the same situation we face. Costa, like him or not, he has the following. He has the command. He controls his stuff. He knows his game. And he plays it well.
Daniel, what do you think?
Okay, so let me first go back to what we just talked about. So the media is a king's maker. They make you or they break you. And Costa is one of the finest political commentators around today. And his role in Liberia's politics over the period of time from Madam Solis administration has enhanced since the introduction of social media live platforms like Facebook.
All right.
And Liberians, like Kwame said, will basically look after people that are saying exactly what they want to hear.
Yeah,
And to some extent, when they make their research and the bulk of what you're saying is kind of true, they tend to be a faithful follower of your different activities. Costa has been able to develop over the period of time because of the overwhelming support that he's gotten from his viewers in terms of supporting just about viewership. And to say that he's politically unimportant would be a foolhardy for anybody to, to even comprehend.
It's at your own peril.
Exactly. So what is happening right now? But Waka, you saw what happened when we went to Magibi.
Yeah.
We were all
that's exactly what I'm about to point out.
As soon as we came outside, we were in the studio having our regular conversation. I mean, it was a good one. In fact, they had a loudspeaker outside at the back. So the community was listening. At the end of the show, we walked outside. People we didn't even leave there. Mass of the people came outside, and they were all not just want to see us alone, but they were all chanting, "They want to see Costa, want to see Costa," appreciating Costa. Why? Because he's been a voice that has been informing them when information was not available to them on certain things.
Yeah.
Okay, so the government is not, or politics is not a church house, or politics has got no religious discipline or principle that sticks or confines you a particular
forums that you will,
When I no longer feel comfortable engaging a particular political process, and I realize that the next one for me answers the questions that has been on my mind for a very long time, I move to the next one.
In fact, he said he's no longer an activist. He's going to be a politician now.
Correct. So you see?
So he's following what best suits him. He's not an activist for the people anymore. So that's what he said. But I agree with you guys.
But and before you Waka, this is a guy who almost brought the government down on its knees. If President Ware
and is credited for resuscitating the Unity Party.
Exactly.
Bingo. Those two things right there. I mean, I don't know what else to say. June 7 and breathing life, a party that was on life support.
Like him or hate him, he has a gift. He's a superb communicator, and I'm saying this from one communicator to another. He is a magnificent communicator, because the thing is, it's about how you deliver the message. It's about your audience.
Correct.
The pitch, when you deliver what, how he puts it in bits and pieces, how he saves the best for last, and all of the. I mean, it just seems like a remarkable. Plus the delivery. The articulation, the delivery seems to be really, really great. And whether or not you like him, we are all, even when he was against us, people will go and still listen. And you might dismiss him.
Right.
You might dismiss him openly and maybe publicly and say, "Oh, he's not nobody," but then it will leave an imprint in your mind. Say, "No, because I said this to you. You're going to think." He said
a lot of damage.
And X, Y, and Z. So for anybody within the Unity Party thinking that he's not doing damage to them, I mean, you must be foolhardy. Because we're in Magibi, for instance. We were attending this program by ACO when in a segment of ACO in Magibi were declaring support for the president, and speaker after speaker came up. They didn't know Costa, but they had listened to him. And started to talk about the things he said, and they were referencing ungratefulness and ungratefulness and ungratefulness, one speaker after the other.
Wow!
So it showed that they had listened.
The message
was resonating to people. So the man gets on Facebook, and within an hour, he's gotten 10 to 15,000 views and all of those stuff. And then maybe by the next day, close to 50 or 100,000 people have seen it. And that's what is happening. So for him to have suddenly say that, looking at the two people, because what Kosa has been saying basically is this, and I'm a pains to reiterate, because a lot of you have already heard him, that I'm not saying that President Weah is the best from his perspective,
right?
Because he's always criticized the president. He said, I'm not saying President Weah is the best, but looking at the two candidates in the race, I prefer President Weah as opposed to Joseph Waka, because I said it in many times on the platform. I don't know how strategic the Unity Party was, when they said, "Oh, Costa should take care of the candidate all the time, be carrying him around for hospital, this and that." So he was very close to them. He knew Joseph Waka. So when people say, "Oh, they're not true," the man saying, "The man, Joseph Waka live in the man, they are living at the man place in the States." So the things he's saying are from a first-hand perspective. So he knows what happened. So his point is, if we have an elderly statesman who's about 80 years old and is not well, but pick a vice just because he can win votes. It's not about what is what is safe and better for Liberia's future. Because we know Kun is was a former lawmaker. We don't know his level of professional sophistication,
Correct.
and all of those different stuff. I mean,
No one knows anything
some of the
about
times you
that.
hear him speak, you think, for instance, he said the way you can know an investor is good for the country is by looking at his shoes. Are you kidding me? This is the vice president.
That's a limitation.
That is a major limitation.
Yeah.
He said the way you can know investor, when investor can elaborate, look at his shoe.
Really? Then what he gonna say about Warren Buffett and Bill Gates?
And besides, when we and one thing I wanted to just state to some of the Islamic people who said enough would over John because he moved cabinet Jana. If you know somebody who moved cabinet Jana, that Jamaica,
Yeah.
he voted for the removal of cabinet Jana. John we didn't vote for. You're not there. Like national legislature, they remove judges, justices on the Supreme Court bench. It is Jeremiah Cole that the one that Joseph Braga picked who voted. He was one of those who voted to remove cabinet Jana from the bench. So we say, oh, that because of that I get problem John Weir that he when I wanted I'm not gonna push him. But besides, this man also placed $1 million in the budget to fund his private clinic. $1 million. Center, the Center for Transparency and Accountability in Liberia, a sub branch of Transparency International, basically called him out for official corruption. So this is the man with $1 million. This is a man that how do they call him? Joseph Parker picked to be his vice president, not because he thinks the man has integrity, because he doesn't. He wouldn't pick him because he thinks that the man from a region that he can win votes.
Minus that pay to play.
Pay to play. The financing aspect.
Yeah,
get some money.
He can. Yeah, because right now essentially that the man financing the whole thing. So Costa was basically saying, I mean, when you look at it, both this is a disaster waiting to happen. The first thing is, I mean, if you hear some of Costa's testimony, he's essentially saying Joseph Braga can't even control his official cycle to the extent that he's complaining about his nephew, but he can't tell his nephew to move around him. And that's not the first time I've heard that. Other folks have complained about the shady deals of his nephew, but now he himself doesn't trust his nephew, but he's unable to tell his nephew that he doesn't trust him.
Right.
Now that is it's a gross lack of leadership. So imagine you have men wielding powers around you, and you say you're the head. They're going to run cycles around you.
But he did the same thing.
So that is exactly what because I say. I mean, say all you want about President Weir, but he's extremely decisive. He's extremely decisive. I mean, if folks know what to do around him.
It's the same question they keep asking. If you said that you squandered these opportunities, why you didn't open your mouth?
Yeah.
At the time.
But how will you open your mouth?
With all these concessions of fake or failed concessions that were signed under your time, they were talking about disabled yesterday. Who took the disabled people money, that we know of? And all of those different things that were happening here. So you just don't sit back supinely and expect that things will just work, and you don't want to say, oh no, nephew, this is what I'm hearing, XYZ, I need you to stop and all of that. So he's in the room, something bad is happening, and he sits there and expect nature to
that I will correct itself.
But if 12 years ago the Unity Party mismanaged hugely opportunities in our country, as admitted by the former vice president, and today, after 6 years of President Weir's administration, the same faces of the whalers in the wilderness will come back and say to our people that they have come to rescue. Yesterday on our show last night, a caller called from River G and said that the Unity partisans are going around in the district and counties with basket and picture of Braga, asking the people to put money inside to help to run the campaign because Braga is coming to rescue them. So the people asked them, but if you don't have money to even run campaign, we who are looking for money, and you coming to us to take money from us, then what can we be hopeful for? And it's appalling. Yeah, it's appalling because if you see the people that are preaching the integrity, or idea today, Baba Kwale, a man who literally disrespected the minister and basically looted his own office at the Ministry of Information. A man who 2017, during the very campaign of the United Party, made away with hundreds of thousands of dollars in theft of vehicle. A hardcore criminal of that nature will have a press conference and call the government a roguish government, whereas they were the first of its kind broad day criminals in the society. So Liberians know these people, and the good thing about it is that we live in a society where the evolution of technology has made it clear. People can go back and research and see. Go and research Rawak Bale. Twe, who is pointing finger at this administration? Amos Twe, go and research these young people. These are people who have even forgotten where they came from. So for President, we have to expose to our people the very things that has been hidden from them. While the Unity Party the last 12 years was schooling people like Twe and the criminal mind Rawak Bale in Cambridge University in England, over 150,000 young brothers and sisters were dropped out of public schools in Liberia.
Okay, let's talk to we were talking about the American thing, and somebody wants to weigh in briefly on that.
Okay.
Then we'll move on. I'm talking about former representative. If I stay representative until next year.
I'm not saying what
Honorable Gray. Good morning. Oh, hold on. Let's do that again.
Do it direct.
Yeah, no. It's better. It's good. How are you this morning?
Okay.
Yeah, you're clear.
Good morning. I want to say good morning to all of you in studio.
Yeah.
You're really been putting the fire on. So I appreciate every one of you this morning, and thank you for the brilliant and splendid working presentation and analysis.
Yeah, I mean, I heard you respond. I mean, both on your social media pages and I think in few conversations about some of the things.
Yeah, but there's something. There are 2 points that have lighted my concern.
Okay.
Not just as a politician or supporting the CDC, but as a lawmaker who has some responsibility for the issue of the laws of the country has to be protected, and we make the laws. Former Minister Connell raised an issue about bringing people into the country to work. So my concern, take the election issue off. Let's look at the critical matter. The labor laws of Liberia are very clear. One, to have a foreigner, a non-Liberian, occupying a position, you must have done your due diligence that there is no Liberian qualified to do that piece of work.
Right.
That's the first thing under the labor laws. So, except the saying that the piece of work the guys came to do into the country, not a single Liberian can do that piece of work. So, the labor ministry should have concern about that. The second thing is that you need a work permit. Before you work here, whether in the private sector or looking to do consultancy, etc., you have to have a work permit. And whatsoever you generate financially has to be taxable. So that brings
You must be talking about the IT technician of the Unity Party that was arrested by the police.
The IT technician.
Okay, he's a Ghanaian.
Yeah, it's not only that guy, because the pictorial evidence shows that they even brought in some Caucasians.
Wow.
Not only that guy who has, yes, there's pictorial evidence to show that they brought in some Caucasians, more than 1 or 2 of them, into the country, besides the other individual, the quote-unquote alleged Ghanaian that they brought into the country to do the IT work. So this raises the issue of labor concern as to whether the Unity Party could not have contacted
the labor
an individual in the Unity Party who has an expert who is a Liberian. So if that individual does not have a work permit, and such funding being given to him or her, and whosoever brought into the country is a violation of the Liberian laws. But once you don't have a work permit, and once that funding given to you is not taxable, and also the issue of having a qualified, competent Liberian to do a piece of job, and you let that qualified, competent Liberian off and brought in a foreigner, is an issue of violation of the laws, and he wants to be a lawmaker. So it has to be very clear. So it raises labor issue besides the issue of quote-unquote hacking. The second point here is that, let's know I'm not on it.
Oh, man. Go ahead.
Are you getting me?
No, yeah, you said listen to, that's how we start. Go ahead, go from there.
Okay. He said, Amara said, former Minister Conan, who wants to be a lawmaker or who was elected as elected senator, he said we hire a security firm to train our people, that raises national security concern.
Right.
The reason why I've come in to speak on this clearly and be very bombastic about that and reach out to the Ministry of Justice.
I may call General Gray directly.
That's what he said.
Let me call him directly. I don't know who is this person. I'm calling you directly. So this is some serious.
Why you talk about it?
Yeah,
talk about it.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so the point I'm saying, the second point raises of national security concern. When he said we've hired a security firm to train our people. I don't know whether you listened to that clip.
Yeah, I
but I
listened to
monitored that on Voice FM this morning. So it raises concern. So the thing here is that one of my responsibility, my oversight responsibility as chairman and executive, is to raise some of these issues that are bordering not just on the economy, not just on the politics of our country, but on national security concern. So I'm going to get the Justice Ministry involved into that and ask all of the security apparatus, including the Defense Ministry. Going to serve them of communication is very important, because if the Unity Party will hire to American a security firm to train their people, that's the Unity Party people.
For what?
I'm getting a little bit nervous. Prince Johnson is there. Okay, are you going to talk about Prince Johnson when he's security consultancy to the Unity Party? Not only Prince Johnson, but Bob Naked. These are notorious characters.
In fact, he said Bob Naked says he's gonna form a group called Rescue Soldiers.
Yes. So these are serious national security concerns. Even the U.S. Embassy issued a statement warning Liberians that could face sanctions or other visa restrictions, etc. But for me, that is insufficient. In fact, they even called on sponsoring the national security apparatus. So for Amara Conan to buttress the effort, the criminal and mass murderer, the Bob Naked, and Prince Johnson, who are saying they're going to train people, and Amara has confirmed that they have contacted security firm. But I'm inclined to believe, let me say, I suspect, let me be very careful with my words, I suspect that A.B. Kroma is involved with that. Because A.B. Kroma is heavily supporting the Unity Party. He's not having feelings with them about that. He has a security firm that hire ex-combatants, serious ex-combatants in this country. So Amara Conan have been in constant contact with A.B. Kroma. Okay, been in serious conversation with him. And my suspicion about A.B. Kroma training those people, it happened in 2014 when notorious criminals were being released from the Central Prison to Man Rawa Salis by A.B. Kroma. He had an arm and they were placed in uniform.
Wow.
Once upon a time, they even went to President Weah place to the Jamaica area, and they invaded our area. One night, arrested a lot of guys there. So for people for Amara Conan to be,
do you suspect that the IT guys were coming to manipulate the elections?
we suspect everything is possible. Even the great United
Because now Amara has said that every side he supports, that side can win.
Yeah, but I'm just saying,
what is he depending on?
Yeah, I mean that's where people should raise concern about that. In fact, what will you be having your locations? What will you be having? Say we have TV. Okay, what will you be having locations? But you underestimating the second portion of the conversation.
Right.
That second portion of the conversation brought us on still national security concern.
I know what
I
you're
remember
saying.
the guys in Lofa County in Foya with the red one. The spokesperson, the guy who spoke, the head of the Military Unity Party in Foya when that gruesome murder of two persons occurred. The guy said they have trained 800 people.
Yes, he said that.
Yes, 800. Okay, to protect their people. If you listen to them keenly, that guy was very clear. He did not hide his identity as a Unity partisan. I remember when we came to power in 2018, the very Unity Party were accusing me of coaching or training people. They were passing a riot with videos and other things that is training people. Okay? So it's a dangerous thing for Amara. Especially Amara Kone, he's senator elect. I don't know him to have a trace of violence in him. Okay, but affiliating with the Unity Party and dealing with men like Prince Johnson and men like Bob Naked, who has made it publicly clear and going to train people. protect the unity party. These are national security concerns that the Liberian government should get very robust. Because even the United States government say empower the national security apparatus.
Yeah.
American needs to be called in to make clarity on his statements. Who are the people being trained for? Because they're not trained to be incorporated into the security frame. Is that what he's saying? You know, a security firm that training people to go to someone else and man their houses where you hire the services. He's saying our people, that's the Unity Party people, to be trained to cause chaos here. It's very clear that Unity Party want to cause chaos here. You see the band going around everywhere people go, they create a kind of a scene, they want to create chaos, they want to create provocation to plunge this country into serious national disaster. So I hope the police, the Liberian National Police Authority, they are listening, because I'm going to call the police boss, I'm going to call the justice minister, I'm going to call even the army leadership, because there is a concern. I bet Carlos Gray, for example, or Jeff Koji talking about we will hire a security firm to train our people. It would have been on the right, because I remember the police director.
Yep.
Jeff Ola on Jeff Koji.
Yep.
You remember that when the girl Moses Scott daughter incident?
Exactly.
That's a lie. That's someone on air. Jeff Koji was invited by the director of police.
Okay. Thank you.
So the director of police is under obligation publicly, as I speak to you now. Amara Kone needs to be investigated.
Yes.
Bob Naked needs to be investigated.
Yep. What do you call rescue
Because they
squad?
are clear that they will train people to protect them, to protect their votes through security firms. They're not saying they're sending people for pool washing. It's not an argument. He said he wanted to say they train, I think 600 people to go to Southeastern region and pool washer. That is different. But the second portion of his statement is that he said they've hired a security firm to train their people. Who are the people?
Yeah, who are the people? What gives you the right to hire a security firm?
Yeah.
You know, the person responsible for security in the country, or the institution is the government.
Especially for criminal purposes.
Even if you want the security firm to mind your home.
Yeah, that security firm has got to be registered with the government.
Yeah, they have to be, not only they have to be registered, but you cannot send your people there to be trained and sent back in.
Yeah.
That's not the function of the security firm. You must be in the employ of that security firm to provide that service to private homes, whether government institution, whether VIP protection, once that security firm is registered. But for you to say, my people, they will hire a security firm to come and train our people, you know what you're talking about? And they leave them with you, whether they will get them guns, whether they will be armed with cutlasses, okay? And you get dangerous men of Prince Johnson, you got dangerous men of bomb naked and passing around behind you, and all the ex-combatants there, and American have reactivated some people from Yolimo. It's of national security concern.
Yep.
You got American, let me say American, Ebi Command. Ebi Command was chief of staff here before. You remember the history?
Yeah, of course.
Okay? He was even chief of staff for Yolimo. For Yolimo K. It's on public record. And you know that he was only one on the BBC. Okay? He became police director, deputy police director. He broke a guy's legs. The U.S. Embassy had to get involved into it. The direct involvement by the United States Embassy, that's Ebi Command. And November 7th, let me repeat. When Command was killed, that Command ball, one of the headquarters of the CDC, and was taken to Ebi Rawa funeral home. Ebi Command, Ebi Command, the family living right here between 10 and 11th Street. Are you sure to visit the family right here? Okay? In fact, I take care of one of the family or two children. Okay? I take care of those kids, send them to school. But Ebi Command went under the disguise that he's related to that boy. When they put the people at Ebi funeral home along with Burma family, they put the people on a gunpoint. They confiscated that body. They buried that boy, the dog. That Ebi Command got his job as 102 on an Ellen James because they wanted to destroy evidence. They didn't want the citizens to have possession of Command body. That November 7th incident. So these are repeat of what happened. You know, Ebi Command been a scary man in the police. And they have recruited some people in the police apparatus of the country. 90% of the police were recruited by Ellen Jones led administration. So I'm not placed my boys in the police before Ebi Command. Place somebody is really dangerous. and notorious criminals in the police before. So when you hear people like A.B. Kroma or Amara Kane supporting the Unity Party, and Amara talking about training people by a security firm, a racist national security concern, Amara Kane needs to be called in. That Defcoji was called in before by the police boss, and I hope the police boss is listening. Because we're very clear on that we're not taking this election for a joke. We've been very peaceful, we've been very calm, we've been very committed, even when our partisans, 3 of them, gruesome them murder. One was murder on the Gallagher Freeway, 2 in Lofa County. Okay, bringing them to nothing less than 3 of our partisans will be executed by members of the Unity Party and their surrogates. So we are very clear, I'm clear, that I'm going to call the defense minister and the chief of staff. I'm going to call the national police. We're going to reach out to the NSA. We're going to reach out to the justice ministry, the director of police, and all members of the national security apparatus, joint security head. I'm going to reach out to them today.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, because a racist security concern, we have few days to election.
We're hearing also that the joint security, the Minister of Justice and other folks are expected to hold a presser today at 11 o'clock this morning. Are you aware of that?
I'm not aware, but we'll follow the press briefing, and from there we'll proceed. But there is no way you can have a criminal that born naked that I know from Clay Street in my district yet. I was here April 6th, I saw born naked, I saw those other guys. I was right here April 6th, born naked little brother. In fact, I took care of him for a very long time in this country. A little brother that was living on Baba. Okay, there's no one who can have the kind of people with Unity Party, Prince Johnson, who spoke about war in this country even during this election period, but naked talking about training people. Then Amara, an intellectual like Amara will come and cement it. You can see the level of the strength of violence and the strength of destruction they want to put this country in. Okay? Amara Kone should not be talking like that. Where's Amara Kone in this country? To be talking like that. Okay? As if to say you have monopoly over violence, you have monopoly over training people to cause chaos in our country. Talking about, we want to know the security firm that he hired. It's our responsibility to know that.
You're right.
As a lawmaker, who can some of the justice ministry to know the security firm for national security concern. It's a national security concern. Who are the people you're training and for what reason are you training them? Okay? I have been the CDC today. A member of the CDC campaign team, or like Eugene Nanga, anybody talking about we training our people, we consulted a security firm that training our people. They were blown out of proportion. They were been protesting, going to the UN headquarters, the US embassy, the European partners, ECOWAS, AU, okay, and the rest of the people. What? The CDC should not sit. The leadership of the minor coalition for democratic change should not sit. The national government should not sit and allow this kind of statements, this kind of a terrible statement to go unpunished. Okay? Because we are responsible as national government to protect the peace and stability of this country. Okay. If this country go down, it will be the government that will be blamed. We have to protect every Liberian, not just seditions, but you Unity partisans. Who know the general guys you have in your midst?
Like when we thought when the war was coming, we thought it was only coming for other folks.
Those Satan trap is not for right alone. Okay, he said that. Okay, so we should be concerned. Extremely concerned. We should be concerned about Mela Prince Johnson. We should be concerned about Bon Neke. We should be concerned about Abraham Kurman. These are guys who plotted war. The former defense minister, for example, it was alleged he had a bookie trap in the executive mansion one day and that bomb blast. It's alleged that Samukai is a specialist in that direction. Okay,
Honorable Gray.
So we are concerned. Samukai has a security frame. Let me tell you this. A.B. Kuma has a security frame. Okay? These are participants of the war. Samukai, a member of the Black Bearer. You know what the Black Bearer did in this country. Okay? You know the history of the Black Bearer, for example. You know the history when you were with the police. You know the history. They were active combatants fighting war around here.
Okay. Honorable Gray, we gotta go.
So, I beg you, brother, the serious thing here. There's the country we're talking about. You could be sitting here and somebody fire calling Grandkid Makande. This is our Unity Party people. But the people are not calling them on the train. Okay? We getting security information also as I speak to you. Yeah, we got the information about bringing high costs into the country and we're having some Caucasians okay, to break into the next system. And I'm asking the people next system, the people the Americans accuse Russia of penetrating their system, as sophisticated as they are. Americans cry that their system was being broken into as the Caucasians who are alleged Russians.
Yeah.
You know that broker with the United States of America.
True.
We can do business with Russia. Okay? You know about Boko Haram coming into West Africa. The Americans are concerned about this country. They're concerned about the safety of Liberia, Sierra Leone, for example. Ivory Coast, right in Guinea. You know there's a military dictator right in Guinea. Right in Burkina Faso, in Togo, coming down to Togo. These are Boko Harams we're talking about. Terrible men sponsored by Russians. And then you bring Russians into our country to hack the system. And we should sit. And everybody just look at it and say, okay, we want peace. No. We have to jealously protect the peace as government and people. So I will call them this morning, the authorities of the country in terms of national security, and I will listen to the press conference. I know they're listening to what we're saying.
Yeah,
or someone will tell them.
Okay.
But we are concerned about security people, who the security people training unity partisans, and for what reason are they being trained for? Because we saw what happened in Lofa, that our people were being killed by those 800 trained unity partisans, some of them the former Kamajos, who were brought into the country, and nothing has come over it. Nothing has come. See the guy that was killed on the Ghana freeway. Those guys were crying, they came in the bar, See, there's the evidence of those who killed that boy, of gruesome murder. CDC should sit consistently and our people be executed. Nobody got control, monopoly of violence, but we don't want violence. We call on our people not to be provoked. We want to maintain the peace and stability of our country, and these are serious national security concerns being raised by America in his statement. He has to be invited. If you can invite people from the government, if you can invite our policies to make clarity, what statements be made? What is the police director afraid of Bob Naked to invite him on his statement? Is the police director afraid of Prince Johnson to invite him on his statement? Is the police director afraid of Joseph Burkhardt to invite him on his statement? Is the police director afraid of Amara Kone to invite him? Or are you witch hunting seditions? These are genuine national concerns that we are raising.
All right.
Okay.
General Gray,
Thank you very much. I
thank
really
you.
want to appreciate you guys. You know, I'm not being emotional, but we want to protect the peace and democracy of our country.
Yep.
After Tuesday, that we'll go back and live peacefully as Liberians.
Right.
We sponsor this election. We spend the highest amount of money on this election in terms of our national government through the National Elections Commission
Exactly.
to ensure that we have election. Our international partner were insisting this is the first of its kind in 2 or 3 different elections in this country for the government to take responsibility. If we didn't want election, we're going to say we don't have the money.
Yep.
What we're going to
All
do? We're going to kill us. If we didn't want,
we gotta go. We gotta go. Unfortunately,
thank you very much. I appreciate it. I know you're running out of time. But thank you very much.
Yeah. Let's open the lines now. You can call us on 080-514-096 or 080-514-096 or 086-561-537 080-514-096 080-514-096 or 086-561-537. Call us on those numbers. Let's talk to our first caller. Good morning.
Good morning.
The name, where are you calling from?
Good morning.
The name and where are you calling from?
Yeah, my name is James Tobawi. I'm calling from Marshall.
Okay, James, go ahead.
Well, I'm really concerned. The last point Honorable Gray raised, the fact that these guys for the asking for a station there in the South East where the president has corruption of the voting. That's what it's mixed up that they want to do. I listened to the EFPC folks last on the show, and the minister in studio made a very still point. I think all that thing is used for the train to bring security, that cover up. They have come in this country to hijack the next system. That's the truth of the matter.
Yep.
Government need to stay on its feet.
Yep.
All well-meaning Liberia institution, we need to rise to that occasion. The people they brought the position in the Southeast, they know the citizens have the number of votes, so have to suppress that number. And as the minister
Of all places, they send them straight to the Southeast. Why?
The information, they will suppress it in the system and come up with the we need to go after that. That's one of the conclusion to the show this morning.
Okay, thank you.
Great contribution.
Great contribution. Let's talk to more callers. Good morning.
Who's that?
Good morning. Your name, where are you calling from?
Hello.
Your name, where are you calling from?
I am George Harris calling from GB1.
Okay, George, go ahead.
So, Chief, thank you for the show, and just listen to the general profound. But I want to speak to the issue on this fraud that is being practiced by net workers. Magbi County is one of Magbi County is one of those counties that we have to terribly look at, because people here have planted themselves in the system of NEC. They did it first round. When results were being announced, they were all celebrating in favor of Unity Party. The magistrate of Magbi County in presence of Rennie Gliba was never here in Magbi County. He only came after the appointment of the chairman of Unity Party for Magbi County in presence of David Mayonga. That is the game plan right there.
Wow.
So we want to emphasize highly on this particular issue, so citizens or the parties authorities can see reason to make sure we have all of the groups in Magbi County here tightened, because the result that came from here was something that was never fair, and we can prove that. Nuantan, Lakasan, those are areas that Unity Party rigged, because there were no full watchers over there representing the party.
What's your number?
CDC. So I want to emphasize on that, so that this coming Tuesday, the party can see reason to make sure those areas are tightened, because we're not going to allow our vote be taken for us to go for another 6 years like this, the 12 year was.
What's your number? What's your number? What's your number?
My number is 080.
Yeah.
53.
Yeah.
84.
Yeah.
54. I'm George Harris. 080538454.
Okay, George.
Let's talk to this caller right here. Good morning.
Good morning.
Your name, where are you calling from?
Thank you for having me, Minister. Mr. Good morning to the rest of you in studio.
Okay.
Well, I'm Emmanuel M. Super Jr., and I call you from the office of the Intellectual Plaza District number 14 this morning.
Okay, Manuel.
Let me appreciate every one of you for the analysis made, and I listened to Honorable Gray. But what we want to focus on is to call on the government, the representative authorities, to address the threat, the current prevailing threat that is trying to, defeat our country. But then we don't want to, discourage our voters. We don't want to distract them, because I think everything has been done by the other party, their trade. We are not disturbed by it. We want to encourage our people
to go to the pools and vote.
Go to the trenches,
Yeah.
go to the pool and vote.
Yeah.
They will be protected. We are not deterred. These are scare tactics, and we can't be deterred by it. We want to call on our people, go out and vote on November 14 and see if these guys can do any other thing. If the people of Liberia make that decision, there is nobody from Iraq can change anything in the will of the people will stand. Thank you very much for 40 minutes time.
Nobody from Iraq. Yeah, talk to the other caller there. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. This is Mo Adam, and I call from the district.
Yeah, Mo, go ahead.
Hello.
One of the reasons that we appoint the elected President is to present the case for Liberia to the international world. So if the government has come up with a very good school in the MCC, I think it's a plus for Liberia. Even as we hate joy, we are so much. We should be able to rejoice for Liberia. This will benefit all Liberians. I think politicians should run with this negatively.
They won't.
And I think it will help this country. How will you hate? Because if you hate this, I mean, you hate Liberia, you hate yourself. This is not about President we are.
Right.
But even the opposition will benefit from whatever proceeds that come from all of the results.
Right.
So I think all our politicians are going wrong. They should think twice. If you think you want to represent, be a leader of this country, you must love this country. But I think most of the people are thinking for their own personal interest. And I think we should be able to vote for the right person. Thank you. May God bless Liberia.
Thank you. Let me talk to this caller. Good morning.
Hello, Walker. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Anybody calling from?
Yeah, I'm Chester TCR. This is the National Secretary General of NIMBA Quado, Liberia Incorporated.
Hey, Chester, what's up?
I'm okay. I want to talk on several issues here. I will not take much of your time. It's about our school for the MCC.
Okay.
I want to commend this government And the good thing about it is we're looking at 6 years and 14 marks. 6 years and 14 marks is a very huge achievement. And I'm sure that in 12 years we will be like around 17 to 19. Trust me. So those who are running with negative propaganda, like our former finance minister, let him go ahead. And I just want to say that Kone and Boaka, they are alike, Joseph Boaka, because they always say it wasn't me. You were in the government for like 12 years, and then you did not reach that mark that CDC has reached now under President George Weah. This government has reached under President George Weah, and it's commending. It's very, very commending. We know that we are start small and speak. We're looking at 14 today, and tomorrow we'll test that. That's the reason why Nimba Kwado endorsed President Weah.
How is Nimba County as we speak? Because you know that we got about 50,000 votes. There are attempts now to ensure that number increase.
But people were asking that. We were asking whether Weah was going to get like 25,000. And we reached 50,000. So rest assured, we are in the county. We are going from village to village, from town to town, and that number is going to increase by more than 60 to 70,000. In fact, we're looking at around 80 to 90,000. Trust me, we are working. Men are on the field now. They are working. Nimba Quarter is on the field, talking to people across the nation, not only Nimba County, because we have more than 125,000 members in the country. So we are talking to all of them. Members of Nimba Kwado, non-members of Nimba Kwado, we are looking at development. We were in the studio like some time ago, and we outlined several reasons why we have to be really elected. Look at roles. And I was just jokingly saying that the other day that one of my friends passed his own town. He didn't know that he has passed. Based on the
the road to pave, enjoying the ride.
The road to pave. The car we just going, we just running. And the guy said, I wonder we have reached Louis. So more than 10 minutes ago we passed Louis. What you talking about? Said, what? Can't you imagine that?
We did the same.
So there are several issues. Developmental while we look at critical infrastructure roads.
Yeah, but I also enjoy the road from Ganta to San Nicolas, right? And
there are a lot of roads to
from Ganta to San Nicolas, that road is really nice.
Yeah,
that road, no, that's not a European road.
Yes, but part of the thing here is that road has not been more challenging than Tapeta Road. Tapeta Road has been more challenging over the years. The 12, even doing Selvita, Tapeta Road was a challenge.
Yeah,
but look at Tapeta Road. I have a cousin who just arrived from Monrovia, and I asked, so how's the Tapeta Road? He said, wow, the road is very, very good. You understand? So
Monrovia to Tapeta.
But what do you have to say to your fellow Nimbayans? Because considering the fact that it would seem like George has built, the president has built more roads in Nimba than he's done in any other county.
People, even Nimbayans are aware. Look at the Southeast. People are saying, if what George did to Nimba, if he had been another president, his own people would have rejected him.
Yeah.
George did not start development in the Southeast. He's not a person who is segregative. No.
Yeah.
George said we're going to do this step by step.
Yeah, let me start from my hometown.
You know why the Southeasterners voted the way they voted massively? They know that people say if your neighbor's house is on fire, just know that be prepared that if you don't take time, we jump to your house.
Right.
If Nimba Road can be paved, Grandchildren Road is on the way, and then Sano Road will be on the way. Grand Crew just did that. So George Weah is consistent. He's systematic. He's not going to jump here and there with different because I'm from the Southeast, because I have people from this. I'm going to systematically lay out this country. That's what he said.
Thank you.
That's what he said. He said, so there are a lot of things, that schools and hospitals, a lot of things to talk about. Nimba schools. Just look at the first-time voters. Those who just left high school for wax fee, no.
All right, we gotta go, Chester. Thank you so much. I think we also need to talk to Jura Sano. There was a major endorsement ceremony that happened during the course of the week from the Islamic community. The Union of Liberian Muslims endorsed His Excellency the President, where the President attended. In fact, he had to stand over the vehicle In fact, because of the sheer multitude of people that turn up to greet him, at that occasion. And then I think he also enumerated some of the things he's done for the community and his roots. Jura, I understand, was one of the organizers. He's expressed his intention to talk about this program. Jura, good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Fofana. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing very well.
And good morning, Mr. Thomas.
Yeah, we began the week, talking about that well-attended ceremony that happened with the Union of Liberian Muslims. Tell us firstly, the composition of the group.
The union or the group is headed by our young brother, a Harvard graduate, Mohammed Belete, who wants to work at LRA as assistant commissioner of LRA, and now a private citizen who is involved in a private business. This young man said on that day, the first time everybody represented we was 2014 when he ran to become senator of Montreal County. They are now voted for him for president. But this time around, this group, under his leadership, decided to vote for the re-election of President We are based on reasons he gave. Among the reasons were the respect he has had for Muslims and Islam, the respect he has had for our community members, the tribes that speak, and our inclusion in his government at all levels, and the work he has done in this country, the gift he has kept in the absence of international peacekeepers, so on and on and on. So as a result, Muslims in Liberia from the 15 countries, and for your information, the group you saw on Sunday is just a representation of the larger group. The group is represented in Sano, Berlin, Lofa, Nimba, you name the rest. And we were just there as members of
How big was the representation?
It was huge. All online televisions, including radios, went there and they saw it. When the president came, he was overwhelmed, he was elated. When he was leaving the gathering, he had to stand in his vehicle because people were moving on him to have him handshake. He was waving, so he had to stand in the vehicle where he had the advantage to see the crowd and wave to them before he disembarked the Setu that day. So it made us to feel that we who are in the government, our people see us as people who can direct them. Our people see us as people who are directly representing them.
Is this a group from ACO?
No, this is a group that contains Muslims of Liberia. There are Akopian, meaning there are people who are in ACO, there are people who are in other political parties that did not vote for President Weah in 2017, that did not vote for President Weah in 2011 or 2005. But they have decided to come in their number at this time around. The guy who I'm talking about, Mohammed Belete, is ranking member of ANC, not ANC. The parties took ANC. We all were in the party together. Musa Belete is his cousin.
One last question. What was the crux of their message to His Excellency the President?
The cause of their message to Excellency is, we are voting you because you have kept the peace. We are voting you because you are uplifting Liberia home and abroad. We are voting you because you have respected the people of this country, especially the Muslim community. You have led Liberia as a true leader, where you recognize all faiths, where you recognize all tribes, where you have respected us. Islam compares us, I'm quoting him, to respect those who love us, to stand by those who love us. So we have come today to stand by you, and whenever we endorse you, we will go into trenches. And from that day up to now, the young brother and his team are moving from country to country on their own expense. Okay. I repeat, on their own expense, to make sure George was re-elected. So I was there from start to finish, and these are the pieces of information I want to share with you guys.
Thank you. That's the voice of Jura Sano, one of the organizers of the Union of Liberian Muslims that organized the program during the course of the week. But there's been a lot of different endorsements, and one of the endorsements I want to talk about, just as we left the radio on Friday, I mean, in my opinion, guys, I don't know what you guys think, but I think it's one of the biggest endorsements that the president has had. And I'm talking about the endorsement of the CPP. A lot of people were banking on the CPP would have endorsed, the fact that maybe the CPP would have endorsed members of the opposition at least,
Yeah.
that the CPP would have endorsed the Unity Party, and that would have added legitimacy. It would have added legitimacy to them, because the CPP is a conglomeration of people from various spheres.
Yeah.
I mean, like them or hate them, you can argue that their group consists of Liberians, intellectuals, they are overseas. But the voting demographic kind of spread across differently in Liberia. Some group have most of the grassroots, the other group have diaspora Liberian and academics, other group have professionals and what have you. So and the CPP consists of the ANC and the Liberty Party combined. So when that group came to basically say, we have looked at the two options available to us, and I'm talking about the likes of Wisner, Louis Brown, Good, Charlene Bromskin, and by the way, Charlene Bromskin has been in the field ever since, stumping Grand Bassa County for the president.
Yeah.
So
She and Tilia as well.
She and Tilia.
Yeah.
So and yes, we have professionals from women endorsing the president.
Yeah.
By the way, so when that group came up and said, well, at the end of the day, we look at the two options available to us. We don't think Joseph Boakai is the best option for Liberia right now. This is an opposition group. Like many other opposition groups, you would have thought that the opposition group would be going to a fellow opposition group.
They would have gelled, yeah.
But the opposition group basically saying that they trust and think that the ruling party is better, because a couple of things that they're afraid of. One is this the semblance of vengeance that the opposition Unity Party have shown. They didn't win election, they started talking about seizing people property.
Yeah.
And the first thing, I mean, when they were leading the first two rounds, we will seize the property with X, Y, Z. It seems as if they're coming for vengeance.
They started passing this thing that government officials were closing their offices.
Yeah.
And they were threatening to go to offices.
Yeah.
Results have not been announced. Some of them were. I even saw some guys in the Ministry of Information yard.
Yeah. So
security had to scare them away.
So these are the things, and whereas President Weah, on the other hand, they kind of think that President Weah is such a reconciler, because look at the people, Daniel, look at the number of people that he managed to, the folks that have been very stingingly critical,
right? Okay.
Vocal critics.
Yeah. So the first thing is the CPP's decision to endorse the president comes as a result of several experiences encountered during their political interaction with the Unity Party. The first thing is there's been an argument of change. Relatively looking at the Unity Party's structure currently, there has been no change. It is the past still trying to create the scene in the present. Secondly, there's been a complete disunity contrary to the name that they bear, Unity Party. They've encouraged other political parties when they were dusted, done, and gone. Their constant help to resuscitate them. Other political parties joined them, and when they gained their relevance, they decided to stab these people in the back, just like the story of Brutus and Julius Caesar. Thirdly, they've also been able to financially equip themselves in terms of political recognition to drive the agenda, which of course they don't have an agenda, but to drive the idea that they want to rescue, the society. Cummings may have been a staunch critic of the government, but he's fundamentally, organized in a way that his decisions that he's going to make could even harm his political.
This Cummings?
Yes, I'm trying to drive. Could even harm his political future tomorrow, whatsoever he tried to do. So, looking at the relationship and also the dissection of the struggles that they all came together and by an elderly statesman who they thought would have been a unifier. And looking at what President Weah has done, and also, most importantly, what even drive the CPP was hearing from ordinary Liberians the appetite expressed to re-elect the president. They say the voice of the people is the voice of God.
I think it was an issue of trust.
Yeah, so but of course,
and the way they disrespected Cummings.
Yeah, of course.
You saw that videotape short clip that was
making
not booing him. They were calling him a thief. Here comes the rogue, rogue, tiffy. They were singing, that song.
And they brought the people. They placed those people over there,
and you could see Cummings's face.
Yeah.
He was dejected.
He felt dejected, and
that was sad.
and I mean, I wouldn't just not forgive anyone for that. And if you hear,
but he was still magnanimous to not
Yeah.
even
Yeah.
follow through with his party decision, remain neutral somewhat. I would have
Right.
been
right.
vicious.
Yeah, if you see the way Costa brings this message of dishonesty to the public about the old man
Yeah.
and how he can be trusted, and you will see the expression in Costa's face, like it hurt him to the point, to the core, where he like, wow, it was a Julius Caesar and Brutus moment, that he felt stabbed. He gave him a hug with he got stabbed with a rose, and stuff like that. And you hear the guy, you will know that no, we have to protect this country, because now this is more about existential issues. It's like you have, and this is something that you just cannot explain better, because the old man, for his age and his medical condition and all of that, you at some point he's going to be tired. You saw him the other time, he was like Mitch McConnell on that press conference.
Because
he lost his memory.
Yeah.
He couldn't. He said, "Oh, it's my time to talk," and you hear the way he talks and all of that.
But Umar Bongo.
And something happens, just in case, because he's a time bomb waiting to go off.
Yep.
And something happens, God forbid, we end up with Coon. We have
Major
people-
winner of Prince Johnson.
right. You end up with butt naked,
Mm-hmm.
and then you're going to start seeing people getting missing at night and all of these different.
the whole freedom will be enjoying now.
Yeah.
People,
Yeah.
You can't go record boy again. You can't criticize the government again. You're supposed to criticize the government. Because already they've started showing signs of intolerance.
Yeah.
I mean, the moment you post something on Facebook, you see the Marcos will come from you straight.
Yeah.
So that level of intolerance, if you get state power to that kind of, like Costa was saying the other day, he said, with all the thing that I said about Joe, we are now one day people threatening
Yeah.
My family.
my son. Now one day, now I just started criticizing them, and now they're threatening my family.
They know the boys school. I mean, yeah, his wife had to put out this thing with the police, and this is not America. Is not like here. If you have some proof online or whatever, they'll pick you up.
Yeah,
But you see,
and the thing about it, I think Costa had a message for Prince Johnson and Nimbayans in a way. I mean, in his podcast, he basically said that firstly, this is nothing against Nimba. I mean,
No, of course.
if Jeremiah Cohen wants to run, he should run on his own, rather than going through the back door. Probably using the old man as a conduit to get to power. If he wants to run for president, he should come forth, because he thinks this thing is about him all along. I mean, he goes to the counties, barely mentions the former VP.
he never.
Talks about himself, how he's going to do this. The vice president say it's a nominal position. You don't drive policy. So when you start talking about you, then it raises questions.
I'm your Joseph.
Then it lends legitimacy to some of the things Prince Johnson was saying and this and that. But he went further by saying, if Prince Johnson thinks that Joe Barker is going to remain loyal to him, the way, there's been all kinds of different international actors, including Americans, wanting him. If you think Joe Barker is going to be loyal to you, just look at me. Look at Benana Ure. Look at Alexander Cummings. Was he ever loyal to them? I mean, you will be a new administration, God forbid. The first thing I want to do would be to give him out. He doesn't want. He would not want trouble. Unlike President Weah, who guided him for all these years and all of that, But anyway, I mean, that was Costa's message. So basically, he was saying, I think the whole thing about Nimba time and this, that, and the other, it might just be the time of a few selfish, because the time of Nimba should benefit all Nimbayans, not a few people pocketing. For instance, if a president cares about building Nimba roads, cares about building Nimba high schools, cares about providing buses for the high schools, cares about providing free education for Nimba, even more than other counties, that is Nimba time. Right now is Nimba time, because look at the number of roads that have been built. No other county get a number of roads. I know there was a Nimbayan girl a lady who got on social media immediately following the election. She said she was disgusted. Why do we vote for a man who gave us? I mean, against a man who gave us so much development?
Yeah.
You know, it will make a lot of people. According to her, she said, "It'll make." You saw the later. She said, "It'll make a lot of people think that they don't need to do much for our county." Because if there were any president who did a lot, but then he also went further to talk about Tony Macosta now, which I agree with, that the political map to victory is being redefined. Initially, everybody used to think that in order to win an election, you must win Nimba County. But the same as if, with President Weah, the political map is being redefined. He won the first round without necessarily winning those two counties.
Yeah.
So if you don't join the movement that is moving to victory, and they happen to be left behind and he wins anyway,
and that's the risky bet that I see some people are placing. Your county has been developed by this man. He left his own place and he's developing your county. Everything is going. Like, remember the guy said the pass by this village.
Yeah.
We were going to Yekepa, and the correspondent for Kanes Zamo, I hope you're listening, in from Ganta. He was so relaxed on this road that he took us to Kample. We were to turn that left to go to Yekepa. This dude took us all the way to Kample because the road was smooth. He was relaxed. I said, "Oh yeah, let's go." And we kept driving. That night when the president was coming, we stayed in Kample for almost up to 9 something, and you could see the mob. They were out there. The people were still out there waiting for the president. And Waka, it is important that the guy from Tango, what his name, Kalasco, just called the guy from Margivi, and
let's say that no Nimba is on the presidential ticket. Let's be clear. No Nimba is on the presidential ticket.
No.
So some of the time people say that Nimata no. Nimata came twice, as a matter of fact. Dogolier and Moses Blair.
Yeah.
So they were vice presidents. So if you're looking at vice presidents, I mean,
Well, a lot of Nimba
so no Nimba on the presidential ticket right now.
Well, a lot of Nimbayans don't encourage that.
So if you have a lot of Nimbayans don't even encourage that whole tribalism thing. Because it's tribalism. We should be voting for the president of the country based on the track record. Some of the things he said, the policies, program, and whatever he has for the country. And it's definitely been shown that this man intends to develop the country, but the same as if Nimba is benefiting right now. So if there any president that was concerned about Nimba, this should be President George Ngwe. But let's talk to Abubakar Ba. Abubakar, good morning.
Hi, good morning, Minister Fofana and the rest of your colleagues in studio there.
Yeah, Abubakar, I understand you've been around the place, sort of rallying the Fula community. Tell us about that.
Yes, my trip along with Mohammed K. Jallo, alias Critica, from the Cooperative Development Agency, and that of the wife of the Fula governor, who is the VC of the National Women League of the party. We led a trip to Nimba County that took us to Sani Kole and Ganta. Those are very food-rich area, and our people are there. They are business-minded people. In Banga also, Kakata, and many parts of Liberia, and specifically rallying the Muslim community with an emphasis within the Fula community. These are people who, they have been misled many times, especially in Nimba County. It will shock you to understand that Jeremiah Kong goes around telling the people to vote for him instead of calling Joseph Barker. He's made it look like as if to say he is the one running for president. And he's got people on the field going around threatening people that if they'll be looking at voting centers, wherever the Unity Party doesn't perform well, there'll be serious consequences on the people. And this is what people have told us in Nimba County. Jeremiah Kong has said that repeatedly. He's got his voice.
And he got zero power doing anything of the sort. Zero authority.
Says that people will be voting, and where Unity Party doesn't perform well, there'll be serious consequences. And so our people are being living in fear. And so we have to go there and allay their fear and make them to understand that
this is where our
does nothing.
Yeah, Gray just said the same thing.
This is very, very, very alarming.
It is very alarming, and we tried to talk to them. We went in the mosque, we went in the markets, we spoke to our mothers and fathers, we made them to understand that President, if you are a Muslim in this country, I'm a Muslim, we are many in the government, We mentioned some of your names. Yeah, there are people who are like that. The president has done marvelously well, taking people to Hajj every year. The president ensured that on Ramadan Day, he tells all Muslims to not go to work, stay home with their family, and he provides ration for fasting Muslim every year. And on Ibrahim Day, he gives cow to every part of Liberia. So this is a president who remembers us all. He goes in and out with us and sit with us when there are programs there, when there are good times, he come and celebrate with us. When there are mournful times, like when we lost our children during the fire disaster, the president was with us at the graveyard, at the funeral, at everywhere. He went to the United Nations General Assembly, made mention of that. That is to tell that it is at his heart, and ensure that he built a school that got burned better than before he got born. I mean, the way he rebuilt the school after the fire disaster and the mosque. If he does not love Muslims, he will not be doing that. So we make them to understand this. And most of them, they said they were sorry, they were being misled during the first round. So I can tell you that a lot is going to change in many parts of Liberia where you saw United Party getting numbers. The numbers will, they will go down, and the CDC numbers will be going up. Looking at what we told the Muslim community in the countries that we've visited so far. But let me say this before I take leave of you. The issue of the American threat to our people is something that all of us must be able to condemn. We must call the attention of authority to be able to look into that, because the people are living in fear. People should be having the right to choose whoever side they want to support. You cannot subject them to supporting your clandestine political move. That cannot happen. That should not be happening. Even President Weah, who has got all of the powers and authority, now is not forcing anybody to follow him. He's convincing people based on his tangible.
He himself walking in the market to convince people.
Right.
Sitting with people, he's not forcing anybody. You get all the police force, the army at your disposal.
Yes, you're not complaining anybody of going against you. You allow people to have their free will. So Mr. Cohn and Unity Party should stop threatening our people in Nimba County that they will go after people who do not vote for him.
Thank you, bro.
That attention.
Thank you, bro. We also have Focus Roberts, who's traveling with the Pro-Tem, and he wants to participate on this program this morning. Focus tried to answer your call this morning. He's traveling with the Pro-Tem in Grand Crew. We can have a last word from Focus Roberts this morning. Yeah, but it's been quite an interesting conversation. A lot of people following. All of them want to participate on this show today. Focus, good morning.
How are you?
I'm doing well. Just take your full name again, the title you have, and what are you doing in Grand Crew?
My name is Focus Wilson.
Oh, Wilson, okay.
I'm contesting in the just ended election, and I came chair for electoral district number 1. Currently, I'm moving with the president pro temporary of the Liberia Senate and back on Senate engagement for the re-election of President Weah.
Okay, where are you guys specifically now?
We're currently, as we speak, here in the model bus sign, we just leaving Galway down beach. We are heading to what we call Andrewville, Johnsonville. There are some major communities where we are reaching out, informing the citizens the important that we need to retain President Weah. So we're still on the tour.
This is Grand Crew, right?
Yeah, Grand Crew electoral district number 1. I
understand the mission is to take it to 100% instead of the 78 or 80% we have first.
Basically, indeed, the protein have just launched an operation called We Are 100% Worker Zero.
Yeah.
So as we move along the way,
wow,
the citizens of Grand Crew County basically understand the exegesis and the important what we need to retain President Weah on the basis of the kind of the work that he's done, the government have done. As a matter of fact, we're telling the citizens this is the first of its kind that we have heard and basically experiencing people have been prosecuted for corruption. We got to know the reporting of government working in terms of road network, in terms of youth empowerment, in terms of education and government. These are things that the president has done, and we cannot ignore them and say that we can get the president just system. The citizens basically submitted to that, and they have agreed. We're getting a positive response. They have even some of that taking some of that vibe. that they will never ever make such an error again come this election November 14th.
Lastly, what's the reception you're receiving from or the pro tem at least is receiving from
People.
the people there? Because that should be an obvious question, right?
Basically, this is a clarion call. This is a clarion call to the citizens of Liberia across the 15 sub-political division. It is important for us to retain His Excellency that the George Manuel, like I said, on the basis of indelible marks, on the basis of blueprint, on the basis of working both international and nationally. We have seen the president is very energetic, he's moving, he's kind of very exuberant, making sure that puts smile on the faces of the people. And so the message in the southeast, the program is kind of about taking over the southeast county. We are not only just going to dispatching people in the other 4 counties where the full soldiers are going to refugee, some of them have just dispatched from Maryland County to amend the strength of the manpower on the ground, putting that roll the jacket, appear almost like the president is campaigning. So yes, the research on the program is unimaginable. It's very unprecedented. And for people refer to the president, the program as a reciprocal, as a clear representation of His Excellency the President of Liberia. So wherever program there's a normal crowd, thousands of young people, the all fools, the women, the gather. So yes, it's very receptive. It's like I said, it is unimaginable. And this speaks about that the program is basically want to see His Excellency the President is really like that.
Thank you, Focus. Thanks so much. That was Focus Wilson on the line from.
And I'm calling on all citizens of electoral district number 1, district number 2 of Grand County. I'm calling on all citizens across the Republic of Liberia that it is about time for us to make sure that Georgia is really elected, Georgia is retained. We don't have space for anybody who doesn't have the capacity of money to power. The protest message is clear. We cannot afford to lose President. We are in a protest.
Okay. Thank you, Focus. Thank you. The message is made.
Yeah, call out your name and where you calling from.
Well, my name is Boima JV Boima.
Oh, wow.
All the nation. I am Evangelist Justice V Boima. Now, I'm calling you from the Republic of Sierra Leone.
Sam Kushari,
you people.
Kushari,
What's up, Thomas? I'm happy to see you guys live, and I'm happy to hear from you this morning.
So
well,
good.
A lot of Liberians have called and they have expressed exactly what some of us have in our heart. Definitely, people may say I have been inconsistent. But the question is, politics is not about being fixed one side. I have been inconsistent because I wanted to do a political exploration to know who is better equipped and who is better fit to fix this country. And I can say with all categorical fact that nobody is more qualified to lead Liberia at this time like His Excellency, the President, George Segozi Bekube Fokiklo Tapewia. I'm strongly convinced that Liberia need him to run the affairs of that country because, look, more than 100 years ago, most Liberians, since the independence of Liberia, the things that people see today in Liberia, they've never seen it. Some of them have never heard about it. For instance, the issue of children going to university free of charge. It takes a whole courage for a government to be able to do that. For instance, even the Liberian broadcasting system, where I worked before leaving for Sierra Leone, I can tell you, Boaka, I can tell you, Kwame Weeks, that there was a time in that ABS, workers there were earning not more than $50 a month. Today, the least worker in that place don't earn that kind of money. When we came to power and when we were appointed by President Weah, when we took the total budget, the total salary budget to President Weah of ABS workers, he practically cried. Estelle Liberté, the current Director General, we went to the office. The president practically cried. He said, under this, in this time, now the time people that are making money that they at this kind of a state-run entity, he said, no, not under my government. It was President George Segozi Fokiklo Tapewia who increased the salaries of ABS workers. The records are there to show.
And let me interrupt you here. I know time is far caught up with us. We saw on your Facebook timeline where you reached out to the president to say you're sorry and that you are his son and that you're planning to come back home. Was that account your
Mommy
account?
didn't only stop there. Yeah, my account. It didn't only stop there. I took my phone and I personally called the president. And you will not believe it. The magnanimity of the presidency was shown yesterday. The president picked my call.
Wow.
He was so happy to hear from his son. Yes, the president and I, we spoke. And from there, he gave the phone to Kalasco. We spoke. You know, I was overwhelmed. You know, that is all some of us wanted over these years.
What does this say about? What does this say about the president?
Well, it shows the president is a forgiving person. You know, I have always said that the president don't forgive because I thought you know, he couldn't forgive me for the kind of wrongs I did to him, but for the mere fact that the president could pick my call. Boyma, JV Boyma, look, Liberians, don't let George Weah go. Let us do everything possible.
Oh, he's saying that he spoke to the president.
Yes, he really spoke. Yeah.
The
Yes, he
president.
did.
Oh wow.
Let's do
This is good. This is good news.
Maintain the president.
Okay.
There is nobody that can handle that country like President Weah. President Weah, yes, we know there were some mistakes in the first round. Those were the learning times.
Oh Lord. Yeah. Go ahead.
Before I could leave Liberia, it's not the president I spoke to yesterday. Look, let me tell you, Liberians, let's don't make the mistakes. President Weah is the best man. He's the most suitable. I'm coming to Liberia. I'm not going to be in Sierra Leone. I'll be leaving for Liberia by tomorrow morning. I'll be fasting in Monrovia tomorrow morning. I will come to Liberia.
There are a couple of things you highlighted in your post. I wanted to ask you about them. You talked about, you know, that you initially left the country, you stay out of the country for quite some time because you were a little bit afraid for your personal security. Do you feel comfortable now, right?
I feel comfortable. The president has given me assurance to come home. The president told me I'm his son. He said, boy, man, I got nothing against you. In fact, when I go to Monrovia tomorrow, the first person I'm going to see tomorrow will be the president of the Republic of Liberia. Okay. You know, the moment I enter Monrovia, I'm heading straight to the residence of His Excellency.
And that will be the first time you see your kids, right? Because that will be the first time you see your kids,
first
right?
First time I will lay my eyes on my children again.
Since you left?
Yes. Yes, sir.
And you plan this time around to back the re-election bid of the president?
I'm going everything within my power for President Weah to get re-elected. Everything. I've prayed to God about it. I've cried to God about it. I've been on the mountain crying to God that God told me the only way I will forgive you need to go and repent to this man because he hurt him so much. That's the reason why I took my phone and I called him. He didn't call me. I called President Weah. I called him and I begged him. I said, President Weah, I am your son. Have mercy on me. And he said, my son got problem.
Wow.
Now he took phone and called me. Nobody told me to call you. Let people know that. Then I gave money. In fact, I'm looking for my own money to car. I should have come today. But the reason I can't, they lay money I use it already. So I'm looking for lay money to car. The one car is so tomorrow morning I'll be able to mobilize the needed resources to come.
It is still politics. You put on.
man. Well, Baba, thank you so much, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. We'll see you tomorrow when you get here, man. You know how we roll. Come, we got everything here. I'll keep your room for you.
Sammy, we go put on.
Okay.
Yeah, this is what
we are seeing a text message. I don't know if it is not a text message, but a Twitter message.
Oh, yeah.
I want to confirm that it is actually from former President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. So, all right, we can confirm that. Then maybe we can talk about it during the course of the program and all of that. But that's all the time we have for today's edition of the show. You know, we've been here since 8 o'clock this morning. You know, we were talking about initially the MCC scorecard. The MCC is the Millennial. It's the Millennial Challenge Corporation, the U.S. independent aid program that Liberia scored quite high in. That was the focus of our conversation earlier. And then we went on to other stuff. Yeah, and then we went on to other stuff. Sorry, that part of the thing on live radio. You can be doing all kinds of different things. So yeah, we also talk about the endorsements of the different groups that have been endorsing the president this week. So then we're here with, as usual, Daniel Nooks Thomas, who's been quite busy in the last 2 weeks. Very busy. Was here last evening. Will be here again this evening.
Oh, you joining me? You joining me this evening?
No. I said you will be here this evening.
Yeah, we're having a Nimba Kwado, the youth leadership, and I think the chairperson will be here this evening also.
Yeah, well, that's good. Thank you so much for the work you're doing. Thank you for the sacrifice. Kwame, thanks for coming.
Yeah, I mean, we got a lot of work to be done. Got folks who'll be in the street between now and Monday. We got over 250 persons who will be moving out. They're at the ministry at the moment, and we hope that
what are they going to be doing?
Handing out our, voter awareness.
Oh, okay.
And